The only reason why someone wouldn't be interested in asking the question is because they already know what the answer is.
This is outrageous, and I'm pretty furious about it, but I did want to come in and report what I just learned from a high-level source. This is confirmed, by the way, at the highest levels, that this is about to happen. The FBI, according to my source, is about to wrap up their investigation into the assassination of Charlie Kirk. They're done.
Now ask yourself, why would the FBI be trying to wind down an investigation with so many questions and loose ends that are still unanswered? And fact is, they never seemed interested in trying to figure out what the truth is. Because did you guys know that the FBI actually ordered the local police not to interview any eyewitnesses?
Just 10-4, I'm still about 15 out, but the 1-2 unit that's going to be up there to interview, as per SBI and FBI, we've been given clear direction not to interview, confirming negative interview until they get there.
140, we were not going to interview. We are just arriving now.
And not only that, the crime scene itself is being ripped apart and rebuilt right now. And it's been, what, 2.5 weeks? Okay, first they took apart the stage area. This happened almost immediately, just a few days after Charlie was assassinated. And they said, well, we have to do these renovations because we don't want there to be blood on the ground. Okay, well, take a look at this now. They're also taking apart the tunnel area that leads out to the backstage area where they evacuated Kirk to the hospital. And then I just got this video from Ian Carroll. He's doing his own independent investigation right now, so we'll see what he finds. But he's telling me that they're also removing the planter boxes around the quad. At this point, they might as well bulldoze the whole campus and start over. I mean, the literal physical attributes of a crime scene is being actively changed. That is insane to me. And why would they want to do that? Could it be because there's basically, at this point, a 0% chance that what they're telling us is the actual truth?
I want to stick to the gunshot. I mean, that's where you're an expert, and that's where you smell a rat deep down. Can you walk us through? And really, am I putting words in your mouth when I say that you think this is 100% a lie, the official story they're telling us?
Yes. Yeah, it's a complete fabrication. 30-6.30-06. When it's fired out of that cartridge, it's propelled with a force of about, traveling at speeds upward of 2,000 feet per second, and, tremendous force. They've got images of ballistic gel, which is designed to resemble a human head, and the skeleton of part inside. They shoot cow bones, cow femurs, which are, thicker than a man's arm. And every one of those shots shows that the bullet shatters completely, passes through. If that round that hit Charlie had been a 30-06, as the FBI and the local police claim, Charlie's head would have been, if not completely severed, partially severed, and it would have been unrecognizable.
Yeah, that was former CIA gun expert, and he's saying that this is a complete cover-up. And yeah, let's take a look at what happens when you are hit with a 30-06.
This is what a 180 grain 30-06 projectile looks like in slow-mo. This shot was taken from 200 yards away. The test was to simulate the shoulder bone of a deer, so we had 2 pieces of wood and 5 cutting boards. This 30-06 projectile goes through both pieces of wood, 5 cutting boards, and 16 inches of ballistics gel. Before we show the actual Kirk shooting for reference, take a look at what the 30-06 did to their pork shoulder. And here it is one last time before the actual Kirk shooting footage. Do these look even close to the same level of damage?
Okay, I will freely still admit that I am not a gun expert at all, but that is a whole lot of destruction, and it's unlikely that it would have been any different for Charlie Kirk. I know they're telling us differently, which I'll get into, but pretty much every ballistic expert at this point is telling us Charlie could not have been shot with a 30-06. His head would have been completely blown off, or at the very least severed. The official story that they're telling us just doesn't make any sense. I'm sure you've heard this, is that Charlie was an anomaly. He was a quote unquote man of steel. This is according to Kirk's executive producer, Andrew Colvett. He tweeted out that I just spoke with the surgeon who worked on Charlie in the hospital. He said the bullet, quote, absolutely should have gone through, which is very, very normal for a high-powered velocity round. I've seen wounds from this caliber many, many times, and they just go through everything. This would have taken a moose or two down, an elk, but it didn't go through. Charlie's body stopped it. I mentioned to his doctor that there were dozens of staff, students, and special guests standing directly behind Charlie on the other side of the tent, and he replied, quote, it was an absolute miracle that someone else didn't get killed. His bone density was so healthy, and the density was so impressive that he's like the man of steel. It should have just gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. In the end, the coroner, they said, did find the bullet just underneath the skin. Even in death, Charlie managed to save the lives of those around him. Remarkable, miraculous. It was a miracle. And yes, I suppose miracles do happen from time to time. But let's actually, unlike the FBI, use actual physics and data to calculate how likely a miracle could have happened. This next part is great work by Chris Martenson. People should definitely check him out. He has an hour-long breakdown of this, but I'll summarize here for you. Basically, putting the caliber of the bullet aside, which we already talked about, the other essential analysis to look at here is the angle of the shot from the corner of the rooftop down to where Charlie was sitting. He says it's about a 10-degree downslope and 10 degrees off axis, meaning that the bullet would be coming in at a slight angle. Here is that protractor view, so 10 degrees is just slightly off-centered. And based on the angle of attack, a 30-06 would go straight through the neck without hitting any bone. And not only that, even if it hit bone, it's likely that his neck would have been blown apart anyway, right? We've just seen all of the ballistics videos. So essentially what the FBI is telling us is believe in miracles, do not believe in data, science, physics, none of that. So just humor me for a second. Let's say it's not a miracle and physics and science do still exist. If it isn't Tyler with his grandpa's Mauser 98 who shot Charlie Kirk, who else could have done it? At this point, I would say we're not really sure, but one thing we do know is that, like JFK, Charlie had a lot of enemies, so there are lots of potential theories and motives and possibilities. But in terms of, once again, we just want to look at evidence. Here is a still shot from someone in the crowd pointing to what it would appear to be a different rooftop. A lot of potential perches, the way the campus is set up and designed, so it could have come from anywhere. This guy is pointing at a completely different area than where the FBI is telling us Tyler was positioned. And also, another thing to remember is that the first 911 dispatch call said it was a guy dressed in tactical gear.
Is going to be wearing all black, black long gun, black tactical helmet, a black mask, possibly wearing a tactical vest and jeans.
This clip, by the way, has pretty much now been scrubbed from the official record, and everything now just says he's some regular dude. Tyler was a regular guy that has a trans boyfriend, he was a furry, and that he was radicalized by leftist ideology, quote unquote, and fired a magic bullet like, you know, I guess all other major assassinations in the 20th century.
Through all of the past assassinations from JFK to MLK to RFK, it's really going to blow your mind when you start seeing how much this Charlie Kirk assassination has in common with all these other basically magic bullet theories, right? If you guys think that JFK was the only one where there was a magic bullet, think again. Almost every assassination in history that has been at this scale, there's some type of magic bullet in that theory.
I think it's absolutely crazy that people like you and me, we're called conspiracy theorists when it's the FBI and the authorities asking us to believe in miracles. And here I am just trying to make conclusions based on the facts that we know. And as of right now, the only pieces of evidence that quote unquote ties Tyler Robinson to the shooting is this blurry image of a young man wearing a black shirt with an eagle on it, and this video of him running across the rooftop, allegedly after he fired the fatal kill shot, and then also these text messages that are absolutely insane. There's no picture of him with a gun at all on campus. In fact, I would say even based on the FBI evidence that they put out, there is more than reasonable doubt that Tyler might not be the guy. Last thing I'll say here today is that TPUSA had cameras positioned all over. One was right in front of Charlie. But right now, we are not hearing a peep from them other than fundraising off of Charlie's name and also just how excited Erica Kirk is about the future.
In the words of my husband, buckle up, because there is a lot of content to be had, and we have so many amazing things down the pipeline that we are working on currently that will
unveil in due time.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
Everybody grieves a little differently, but I'm not sure if those are the exact words I would use, and I would probably not have that facial expression. Anyway, I'll end this video with the same line that I started with. The only reason why someone wouldn't be interested in asking the question, all the questions, is because they already know what the answer is. That is it for me this week. Let me know what your thoughts are. I obviously believe that based on all of the evidence that we have, Tyler either was not the shooter or at the very least did not act alone. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you want to support my work, my journalism, please take a second to like this video, share it with as many people as you can, subscribe to the channel, and also hit that notification bell. It really helps us out in the algorithm. As always, appreciate your time. See you in the next one.
Hello, my love. You have no doubt heard of the shooting, and I must admit, 'twas I. I had hoped to keep the secret to the grave, but alas, I have not lasted the better part of an hour. Why have I committed this act? 'Twas the hate of the man. Reason had no purchase in the poor soil of his soul. You have not asked, but in case you were wondering where I hid the rifle, my love, 'twas over yonder by that lingering squad car. My old man shall surely be missing it presently. Do you remember how I was engraving bullets the other day in front of you? Well, it was just to do a big meme. Look no further into that.